Now, TK, the game of the week this week is the world's largest outdoor cocktail party that takes place every Halloween down in Jacksonville. And you've played in this game. You know what it's like, regardless of what the records are and things like that. Before we get into this matchup and the matchups inside of the matchup this year specifically, just tell everybody what that atmosphere is like as a player and what this rivalry is like to be a part of.
Man, it's a incredible game as a player to be a part of. I mean, you walk into that stadium, you see that 50-50 split right down the middle, red and blue. It's incredible, bro. There's absolutely nothing like that as a player. So probably one of my favorite games for sure. But the rivalry in itself, man, I honestly I haven't my first time experiencing a true hate was for Florida, bro. I remember '07, no Sean scores on them. They go out there, dance. The year after I get there, they beat us. They're beating us. Urban Meyer calls a timeout, like just unnecessarily, like just I mean, obviously, agitated about what we did the prior year, but he calls that timeout, bro, and I can just remember feeling like just like, oh, I hate these mother. Yeah. So bro, so for me, and I think for every dog, that's how that game is, bro. You want to go out there and you want to just compete at the highest of the highest level in front of those fans on that red side of the stadium and just get it done for them. So this game is full of intensity, bro, full of a lot of passion and full of a lot of hate.
Oh, no doubt. And when you're talking about Georgia and Florida, there's usually playoff implications in this game. It has a lot going through the SEC East in particular on who's going to get to Atlanta this year. Florida pretty much out of that picture. But TK, when you talk about the significance of it, they could still do a lot in terms of the national picture. Georgia has, everything to play for right here. They're number one in the country. They're a 14-point favorite on Bet Online. So a solid 2-touchdown favorite. The over under, I Bleav, is 51 right now on this game. Yeah, over under is 51. Georgia is a 14 point favorite. And when you're talking, TK, about Georgia, much like Alabama, right, was a victim of their own success. Georgia is a victim of their own success in terms of, and not only their own success, but they're a victim of Alabama's success, right, over the past few years, because that's who all Georgia faithful and everything, they're comparing themselves to. Okay, are we to that elite standard yet, right? Kirby Smart says all right. He says, are you elite or are you not? So I think this game, even though Florida has lost to an LSU, and they've lost to a Kentucky, and they've lost a close one to Alabama, I think Florida has pieces that are, a solid offensive line, talented in quarterback play in AR-15, and even Emory Jones when he's playing right, and some receivers, things like that. That's going to be a good test for Georgia to see, okay, where exactly are we at this point?
Right. 100%. I think that Florida definitely has pieces. Obviously, we've seen how they played a good Alabama team. We saw that. So they'll be ready. They'll be prepared. Just like I talked about the hate on our side, they feel the same way. Let's be clear. They want to go out there and compete at a high level and kick our ass too. So they'll be ready. They'll be prepared. Now, in terms of who's out there, I think that, in my opinion, I think that they better roll with AR-15. I think he gives them the better chance to get things done, in my opinion. I don't know what you feel about that, but to me, I just think if I'm a Florida fan, I want Anthony Richardson at the helm.
Yeah, well, no doubt that he's more of a talented and dynamic runner. But here's the thing, TK, I don't care who's out there, Anthony Richardson or Emory Jones, they got to take care of the football, right? Two picks each against LSU. And then, of course, the Florida defense. Don't think that Georgia is not watching that LSU tape over and over and seeing them just run the same counter tray gap scheme run play against them over and over, that Ty Davis Price got 272 yards on by himself, in that game, and thinking, what can Zamir White and Kenny McIntosh, who should be returning for Georgia this game, James Cook, who they're using in a variety of different ways. And I know you got some thoughts on that, but it's a run defense that, wasn't terrible to start the year off, but now it seems like there's some chinks in the armor there. And also that they have the turnover bug. So overall, I think Florida's got some things that they probably were definitely working on tightening up during their run fits, things like that. They're going to sell out to the run in this one and try to make Georgia's passing game and receiving core beat them. But speaking of that, TK, this week ESPN comes out and with an article that Kirby Smart brought in Chris Lowe of ESPN and was doing a exclusive interview with him on the quarterback situation. And the beginning of this interview, the beginning of this article says that, Kirby Smart, JT Daniels is healthy, but Kirby Smart is not necessarily ready to make a change at quarterback. If they roll with Stetson Bennett, what's your thoughts on that decision? And then what do you think? What do you think of that decision if Stetson Bennett's the guy that go for Georgia from this point forward?
I love the decision if they kept rolling with Stetson. I think that he's put us in a position thus far to be successful. He's been successful. I think that the guys around him understand that he's the guy. I think that our fan base understands he's the guy, and I think that Kirby understands it too. Just that I think he's having to, kind of play the political game here. But dude, when you go out there and you compete and you put your body on the line and you're doing all the right things, it's hard to go away from that. And when you elevate the play of everybody around you, why would you go away from that? You think about it. Has this team been better and better and better every week? Offensively, I think so. So it'd be baffling for me, and I'm not obviously not the smartest man in the world, but it'd be baffling for me to go away from something that was working. If it ain't broke, I'm not looking to fix it, and nothing about this Georgia team right now is broken.
Yeah, and when you look at it, Florida does have a very athletic defensive front. They've got guys, guys up front like a Brenton Cox who was at Georgia, right? And then Carter at the defensive end. I mean, they've got a bunch of talented guys that are going to play in the league over the next couple of years up front. And I just think if you put a guy like JT Daniels in there, it takes away from your run game, TK, because now that backside defensive end on his own play in the shotgun, right? He doesn't have to honor. He ain't worried about JT pulling it. He's going to come screaming down the hill line, and that's one more person in that run play that you have to worry about. Plus, if a safety comes down, all that kind of stuff. Whereas Stetson's in there, you hand the ball, or if it's under center, you turn your back to him. They've got to stay true to the boot out, and all that kind of stuff off play action. Georgia has absolutely killed people off play action this year. They're set to, and they've been doing that with, receivers. They expected to be third and fourth on the depth chart this year. And now they're through this bye week, they should be getting Jermaine Burton back healthy. Karis Jackson should be back healthy. Arian Smith. TK, when somebody runs a 10-1 in the 100-meter, that's just picking it up and putting it down, son. I mean, they can absolutely fly. He may be the fastest person to ever play for the University of Georgia.
He could very well be, bro. That's some serious turnover, my brother.
Yeah, that's a world class, like Olympic speed. So it'll be interesting to see what quarterback each team rolls out there. Regardless, TK, I think Georgia's front seven is going to stifle that Florida run game more so than it's been stifled all year long. And I like, this defense in the back end. I do think Georgia has some deficiencies when it comes to the safety position in terms of covering people. In terms of if they were, let's say they weren't to get pressure TK up front with their front seven and a guy had a lot of time to throw, I think that elite receivers could get open on our defensive backs at some point. But I think
I mean, you give somebody all day to run. I hope they can get open. Yeah. But again, like to your point, like maybe a little bit of our DB play is masked by our front seven, but hell, if you've got guys that are getting it done and helping you in that aspect, that's what TEAM team, baby.
That's it. It's all about playing together, and Georgia's been playing very complimentary. So, TK, before we get out of here, and just to let everybody know, we will be back for a Wednesday show where we will be breaking down Ole Miss going to Auburn. We'll be talking some recruiting in that show, a lot of different things. So we try to do a show for you here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. TK and I, neither one have travel this week, so we should be loaded up on all three shows. So we'll be giving you our previews and predictions of Ole Miss and Auburn on Wednesday. And TK, now that we've kind of said all that, we've broke down this game from that standpoint. Georgia, 14-point favorite, 51 over-under. Who do you like? What do you think the score is going to be? Do you like the over-under, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I like the over for 51. I think we beat them by more than 2 touchdowns, though. I just think that they struggle a little bit. We talked about it just a second ago. Us getting pressure on them, I think, will be huge, and their quarterback's making a lot of mistakes when they're put in that position. So I think that we're going to be put in a position to score defensively as well. So I think the score will probably be 42-17 Dogs.
Yeah, that'd be a big day for Georgia, and I think that would put no doubt if Georgia's able to, that would solidify them even more in that number one spot in the country if they were able to lay that kind of beat down on Florida and Jacksonville. I think just early on, TK, maybe just because it's a neutral side, and I think, if Florida's players have any kind of love for their coach at all, they're going to have to come out and play because Dan Mullen's starting to get a little hot around the collar there, TK. I mean, he's starting to feel the heat a little bit. At least maybe as DC Todd Grantham is. So if that defense wants
the birds chirping out there, brother.
No doubt. You should see the message boards over on the Florida Rivals side. It's comedy in itself. What the Gator fans are thinking about this coaching staff right now. But I think they'll come out and play hard early. They do have some talented guys, but I think Georgia's depth and overall the talent disparity, the three number one recruiting classes for Georgia in the last 4 years are far superior to what Dan Mullen's been able to bring in over the last 4 years. So I think the talent gap is in Georgia's favor. I like you said, Georgia to be able to cause Florida to make some mistakes in this one, especially late. I'm going to take the over as well, and I'm going to take Georgia to win this one 38-17.